a minute about what happens, what's the difference between, working for somebody else and earning money that way versus working for yourself? Because my own experience is I found a whole raft of blocks when I started working for myself that I had no idea about when I was working for someone else, and very comfortably working for somebody else and earning good money. And yeah, and I wonder if this is something that you find with your own clients and is a common experience.
Absolutely. It happened to me. And it was a real shock to me because I was like, well, I don't have any money blocks. But then when I went into business for myself and started to send out invoices, I kind of had that, oh my God, feeling. And I know what people are feeling. It's a really different thing. When you work for someone else and you get a wage, there can be resistance and imposter syndrome around that as well, but it's generally easier to manage when at the end of every month you're going to get paid for what you're doing, and you just go about your business and you kind of tune all the rest out. It's very different to when you're in business for yourself and you actually have to physically ask for money for your services, and that can just bring up all sorts of stuff, and all of that, the self-worth, the net worth, all that connection just really comes to the surface when you're in business for yourself. Everything becomes exposed. So any money blocks that you had when you were working for someone else that you were dealing with, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off, and it's like, oh my God, and there's just massive wound. So you kind of have to just heal that. You have to heal your money stories and your money relationship, and then you can move forward much better in your business.
And even I'm often surprised when I hear people speak, there's almost a lack of financial literacy, even just in terms of the language people speak about sometimes in the entrepreneurial world that you and I are a part of. I see lots of people talking about, 6-figure, 7-figure, da-da-da-da, but not really having a grasp on either cash flow or not understanding what profit is as opposed to revenue, and looking at that side of things. And I know that's something that you're quite passionate about. I wonder if we could just spend a minute or two talking about, let's get clear on what really is important to keep a business financially afloat.
Cash is the number one thing. A lack of cash flow is probably the biggest thing that sinks most businesses, because unless you have a cash or access to cash, it's hard to stay afloat. So I kind of sometimes find that people will look at their profits, look at their revenue, even look at the net amount that they've made for the month, but that is not the same as cash flow. This is something that I go into more with my clients, because you might bill certain amounts in the month, and you then have a certain amount of profit, it seems, on paper, but that cash might not be coming through in that month. So you have a real difference. It's two totally different things. So tracking cash flow is probably the most important thing you can do in your business. The second thing is to not focus on a 6-figure income, because that doesn't mean anything.
Hey, thank you for saying that.
I do find it really annoying. Look, I think if you are earning 6 figures in your business, congratulations. It's a massive feat. It's not easy to do, but it's not the final goal. You need to take off your expenses and pay your taxes first to see what you're left with. If after you've done those things you're left with 6 figures, then you have a 6-figure business. Yeah. So just having a look at your revenue and saying, I made $100,000, that, I've joined the 6-figure club. But if you're spending $99,000, then you haven't made any money. Block isn't just a block in earning revenue. A block can be in excessive spending, and not watching your cash, and not putting aside things like money for tax, and all of these things. They're just all of these things have to be taken into account, and it's so you can be earning 6 figures but still have some substantial money beliefs and money blocks going on in the background.
And in fact, when I teach people about abundance, I talk about 3 areas: bringing it in, growing it, and letting it out. And that all 3 have to be flowing.
When the percentages aren't right, if you're spending far more than you're earning or close to what you're earning, and there's nothing left for you, and there's no security or savings or investments left for you, then you've broken the flow. And so it's nice to just to have it all even. So watch how much is coming in, spend accordingly, save some money, and then go out and buy what you need. So many women in business are paying everybody but themselves.
Yeah.
And they're taking no money.
There's a thing that I work on with women sometimes about putting themselves, instead of putting themselves last, putting themselves first. It happens in all aspects of life, including with money. Yes. I always say put yourself first, and my money version of that would be pay yourself first and then pay everybody else. Would you give that same advice? I mean, obviously that requires you to first of all understand how much you've got coming in, so that you don't pay yourself and then there's nothing left to pay your pay your debts with. But it seems to me it's that same philosophy. If you don't pay yourself and value yourself first, then you're not going to have, both energetically but also financially, what it takes to then give back. Yeah.
Okay, so I see one of 2 things happening. So often people don't pay, women aren't paying themselves any money, and they're paying everybody first. So there's that whole, and I think that especially women heard this a lot as little girls, and even as adults. It's better to give than to receive, yeah? So we're just used to giving all the time. And to receive and to take something for ourselves just seems foreign, and it makes us uncomfortable. So it's often the same with taking a wage or taking money out of your business for yourself. So some women take nothing, and then other women take far too much. Right. So they're constantly dipping into their business account and ripping out money, and then there isn't enough then to pay their bills and to pay for the things that they need to pay for within their business. So. And I totally understand that when you're in business for yourself, you don't always have a regular income. Yeah. It can be sporadic. But you don't have to take out mass amounts every month. You can just take out a little bit. So if you're first starting out, take out $100 a month. You won't even notice it, but it's something. Then the next month or a couple of months later, take out $200 a month. And see how that feels. Can you manage it? Is there money coming in, and are you able to pay? If that feels comfortable, double it again. Take out $400 a month until you're getting to the stage where you're taking out a decent enough money for what you've contributed to your business, but you're still able to pay for everything to support you.
Love it. And it then creates what I love to talk about, which is a sustainable success or a sustainable business, which it then means you're not going to be burnt out because you're not... You haven't drained all your resources every month, and then you've frantically trying to recover the next month and so forth. You can, and I love that. Just start slowly, build gradually, get into the habit of caring for yourself, noticing yourself by paying yourself, and then build that over time as the business flows with it. And the business will respond to that as well, to the kindness that you give the heart of the business, which is you.
Yeah, and if you want that financial ease, if you don't want to have that feeling every month or every day in your business with regards to money, make sure that you aren't spending more than you're earning. If you start to spend before the money's even come in, then you're already on the back foot. And unless you have a substantial amount of savings when you first open up your business, and that can sustain you for a while, then I guess and you have the thought in your head that you're going to invest a certain amount, or you're happy to travel at a loss for a year or two because you're growing, then that's a different thing altogether. But if you're wanting to make profit in your business and you're already spending money before it's even come in the door, then you're going to always have that feeling of panic. And it's not a pleasant way to live your life and to operate a business, because then you start to grab at business.
Exactly, and you start making poor choices because you're operating from a scarcity mentality, which is like, oh, I better take that opportunity or that opportunity, even if it's not aligned with what's really right for me. Yeah.
I know that client's not right for me, but I have to work with her because I need the money, and and you just don't want to you just don't want to operate like that.
If you really know, actually, I'm fearful about money or I'm avoiding it and I just get by, where would you say what's a good place to start for people with that?
It really does have to come down to a matter of trust and to trust in your ability to generate the money. And I mean, I had a bridge job for the first 15 months of my business. That's just how I operated. I did have job shame for a while, and I kind of didn't want to expose that. But now I just think, well, that's, that kind of helped me get over that. How's it going to build up? Where's the money going to come from? So that's an option that, some people don't want to take because they're too proud, or they want to concentrate on their business full time. I think that it's always good to have something until you're established.
I think a bridge job's brilliant, actually. I think it's absolutely the way to go.
It just takes the edge off. And then really, in your heart and how your business is going when you're ready to jump ship. And for me, it was, I just felt ready. Yeah. It was time, and I just did it.
And so we're exploring, or I'm certainly exploring, all sorts of issues around freedom. Mm-hmm. What does financial freedom really mean to you, Sylvia?
For me, it's choice. And that's basically what it comes down to. If I have enough money, I'm not chasing money for the sake of money. I'm chasing money to grow my net worth so that I can have the choices to do what I want to do and how I want to do it. I want to spend more time with my kids as they're growing up. I don't want to be restricted, to a job. I want to create my own freedom. I want to be able to travel when I want to. I want to have a location-independent business. So all of these things, financial freedom for me just means that I just have greater choices.
And so if people want to find out more about you, where can they find out about your services?
My business is called Beautiful Money, and it's www.beautifulmoney.com.au. I obviously still do offer bookkeeping services for female entrepreneurs, but I do really work with women one-on-one in the financial coaching area, because I think that there's a lot of work that can be done there.
And then the bookkeeping kind of flows from there, doesn't it?
Well, it does. Look, it's hand in hand. It's inner money work, outer money work, and I think that the two combined is the key to growing your business and becoming financially empowered.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for joining us, Sylvia. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. That's me signing off, Samantha Nolan-Smith. Thanks for joining us.